Hello and welcome back to Pulp Kitchen. Thank you so much for joining us. Hopefully you guys have listened to episode 198 of the podcast, where this week we reviewed Big, Bold, Beautiful Journey, new film directed by Kogonada starring Colin Farrell and Margot Robbie.
Right.
So go and check that out if you haven't already. But ahead of One Battle After Another, the new Paul Thomas Anderson and Leonardo DiCaprio film, we thought, as we did for Brad Pitt with F1, we would run through Leonardo DiCaprio's career. Realised he's got a lot of films actually from before I knew what a Leonardo DiCaprio was. He was a prominent child and teen actor, but as it stands today, George, I think you and I would both agree, Leonardo DiCaprio, Leonardus DiCapridus as the Latin root,
yes,
is one of the biggest actors working today.
Yeah.
He is one of the few actors that I would say shares the brand of the film with the director. It's never just the director's film.
Yeah.
It is a Leonardo DiCaprio and insert director. And I think that applies for even the titans of filmmakers like Martin Scorsese, Christopher Nolan, Quentin Tarantino. It still kind of becomes a Leo film.
I would say, with the exception of one film, which we'll get to,
Yeah.
since 2003 onwards, he has only been in movies where it is Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yes, he works with the best, especially from a certain time period, which we'll run through. And he makes the very best. He's a big box office performer, very high scores across the board for his films. And I do think he's a bloody good actor.
Yeah, and he's been in some bloody good films.
It's going to be a common thread. And that's why I think we're doing this, because you look at his sweet films and you go, that is a bloody good list. You could just watch, you could do a Leonardo DiCaprio season and have a very good time.
Very good
Do you know what I mean? If you just want to do the Leo season, start from whenever you want, but it's a pretty good run.
Right,
so
hit me up then, what we
I've
talking?
listed not every single Leo film, because there are some just from the 90s that we straight up haven't seen, but I will mention a few of them just of note. But we're going to run through basically every film he's done from a certain time period. But before we do, George, I've got 3 Leonardo DiCaprio themed games for you. The first one I'm going to play, because I think if we did this at the end of the episode, I think you would have too many of the answers. So I actually want to queue up. But this is, George, a co-star countdown, if you wish. I have got Leonardo DiCaprio's smaller, more niche co-stars, and you have to guess what Leonardo DiCaprio film his co-star was in. Do you understand the game? So I've started a little bit easy, but I've got some real niche ones in there. He's done a lot of films with a lot of very big casts, with a lot of big actors. So I'm going to name a co-star, and you have to tell me what Leonardo DiCaprio film it is, just to warm us up. George, are you ready?
I am.
You have to guess the Leonardo DiCaprio film from his co-star. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Cillian Murphy.
Cillian Murphy. Inception.
Yes. Jennifer Garner.
Jennifer Garner. Catch Me If You Can.
Yes. Elizabeth Debicki.
The Great Gatsby.
Yes. Jesse Plemons.
Killers of the Flower Moon.
Yes. Joanna Lumley.
Wolf of Wall Street.
Yes, from that one scene. Jeremy Irons. Clue is in the name. This is an old one.
Oh, Jeremy Irons. In my head, I'm thinking of Jeremy Renner. The Man with the Iron Mask.
Yes. Kathy Bates.
Oh, God. The Aviator?
No.
Kathy Bates. It's not Don't Look Up.
No.
I don't know.
Titanic.
Oh, of course.
Also could have accepted Revolutionary Road. Will Poulter.
Revenant.
Yes. Jude Law.
Leo DiCaprio. Jude Law.
The Aviator. Ray Winston.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry about that. The Departed.
Yes. Jennifer Connelly.
Jennifer Connelly was with Leonardo DiCaprio. Is it like Body of Lies?
No, the other one.
Body of Secrets.
Something bodily and something rich.
Rich, wealthy.
Yeah, what do wealthy people have?
Money.
Blood Diamond.
Oh, Blood Diamond, yes.
Kenneth Branagh.
God, I'm not getting these at all, am I? Kenneth Branagh.
Oldie.
An old one. It's not Man with the Iron Mask. It's not Gilbert Grape. It's not, I don't know.
It's a film called Celebrity from 1999. It's a tough one. Tilda Swinton.
Tilda Swinton with Leo would be, oh my God, I'm blanking on all of these. Clue?
Great start of a film, bad end of a film.
Leo. Tilda Swinton, you say?
Yeah.
Tilda Swinton. I don't know.
It's The Beach.
Oh,
Adam Driver.
Adam Driver with Leah. Oh, God. Oh, Adam
Big
Driver.
cast. I've not seen it. I'd say it's quite underseen, maybe.
In the past 10 years, past 15 years.
On the edge there. Let's double check the year.
J. Edgar.
Yes. Lena Dunham.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yes. Brendan Gleeson.
Gangs of New York.
Yes. Timothy Chalamet.
Don't Look Up.
Yes. Walton Goggins.
Django?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oscar Isaac.
Body of Lies.
Yes. Meryl Streep.
Don't Look Up.
Oh, yes. And yes, true. That's also true. I was going for Marvin's Room as an niche one, but they also apply. David Harbour.
He was in a lot of things before he was in Stranger Things, wasn't he? David Harbour.
One of my faves.
Revolutionary Road.
Yes. John Carroll Lynch.
Shutter Island.
Yes. Well done. That's it. That's the game. Nice little warm-up for you there. So I went hard with that.
Yeah,
I went with
I like
some
it.
niche
I've
ones.
forgotten some of the...
Yes.
He's worked with a lot of people. Yeah,
He really has. And they're just a little tease of some of the films we're going to be talking about today.
Yeah, crikey.
But nice little game there. Stretched you a little bit. Loads of co-stars. But should we start with his career? And as I said,
so.
he did a load of films as a teen and as a kid, which I didn't see. But I wanted to start with the most prominent breakout for Leonardo DiCaprio, really sort of pitting him as a leading man, but not just that, a romantic lead.
Yeah.
And that was in Baz Luhrmann's Romeo and Juliet from 1996. That was the film that really put him on the map. A great film. How do you?
I like it very
of
much. I
Baz
remember
Luhrmann's
watching it
Romeo
a
and
lot
Juliet?
in music lessons at school.
Yeah.
And I loved it. I loved how stylish it was. Like the whole idea at the time of when I was a kid of like Shakespeare mixed with Radiohead, mixed with sort of MTV aesthetic was just excellent. And he is dreamy-eyed and works wonderfully well with Claire Danes.
And he's doing Shakespeare young brilliantly.
Yeah.
It wasn't just that he was good looking, he was really great as Romeo. And it put him not just as like a sort of tweeny boppy heartthrob. Like he was a seriously accomplished actor who could work with the best.
Just that whole his anguish in it and aesthetic. It's such like a teen melodrama, really.
Floppy hair.
Just billowing about. I like Romeo and Juliet very much.
And really iconic costumes, I think, to this day. That aesthetic, I think you'll still find that in like the dress-up fancy dress parties of various millennials knocking around.
The boys.
Yeah.
I know, because I played you last year for Sound Game. I played you one of the sounds from the opening, but I don't know how well you know that movie, but like we used to watch the opening a lot at school, and it's when John Leguizamo turns up as Tybalt with his metal healed, and it's like Tybalt, Prince of Cats.
Yes.
And he's like, where are these heartless hinds? Anyway, good movie.
Great movie.
I would say, so we're not, just so we go back, but you've not seen, I've only seen it for once a long time ago, Gilbert Grape.
No, I've not.
Yeah, I don't, it's Johnny Depp's movie.
Yes.
But Leo's in it.
Yeah.
And I think now, he's... Yeah, it's quite a good performance. I think it's when that's what people were like, oh, this kid's a good actor.
This kid's really good, yeah. But there's like a leading man, I think, and as a romantic lead.
Here we go, Romeo.
And I think,
and you can't get better than Romeo.
He wouldn't have gone on to do Titanic, I think, without a success for Romeo and Juliet. But before that, he did Marvin's Room, which is a 1996 film I've not seen, but he worked with Meryl Streep, Diane Keaton. It's directed by Jerry Zaks, and that was there after Romeo and Juliet, before he went on to do, in 1997, Titanic.
And at this point, I should mention the Paul Rudd story about Titanic.
Oh, what was that?
Basically, they're driving to the premiere of Romeo and Juliet because Paul Rudd's in Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah.
And Leonardo DiCaprio's like, I'm being asked to do this movie about Titanic, and I don't know whether I should do it or not. And Paul Rudd's dad is like a huge expert on Titanic, and he was like, oh my God, you should totally do it. And he's telling the story on Graham Norton as well.
Yeah.
Paul Rudd, he's like, oh my God, I said to him, you should totally do it. My dad's got this information, totally do it. And Leonardo was like, okay, maybe I should do the movie. And he did the movie.
And it turned out to be a huge success. Spoilers, he did the film. Yeah, he wasn't like 100% keen on doing it, was he? I think he had like I can't remember who else had offered him something that he turned down to do Titanic. And I think because he had done Shakespeare, he maybe wondered if Titanic was a bit beneath him. I was sort of putting words in his mouth. He wasn't like 100% sure it would be a good pick. And if Romeo and Juliet hadn't put him as a leading frontman heartthrob, Titanic totally solidified. At the time, highest grossing film of all time, now sitting at number 3, I think.
And I watched it for the first time on New Year's Day this year,
Yeah.
and it's a good movie. I had a good time with it.
I think it totally works.
It's romantic and sweeping and melodramatic when it needs to be, and then it's absolutely harrowing and distressing and horrifying when it needs to be, and epic. And I love their chemistry together, him and Kate Winslet.
He really got it, I think, that role of, I know it's like the poor boy, rich girl, but capturing that sense of fun and excitement, getting on the board the Titanic in the last minute in a game of poker, a fun character, a real sort of like stock character we've seen before. But I think in 97, that film was massive. My older sister, who's 8 years older than me, was like, you don't, and she was a young girl at the time, she's like, that film was the biggest thing ever. She describes it as bigger than any of the other big films I think have been big in our lifetime. I remember she got the VHS and we've watched the VHS. I wasn't allowed to watch the car scene. But I didn't know why. I was just like, this is
just steamy.
strange. What could happen
Even
in a
though
car?
actually you don't really see anything, you just see a
Maybe
hand.
it was the drawing. Maybe it was the drawing scene
maybe
as well.
the nudie bits.
the nudie bits.
But he is great, and you feel sadness at the end because he is wonderful, and they have a great chemistry and the great romance.
He lives only in my memory.
And he's
Love
there.
it. Yeah,
his hand
when
out.
all the people are there
And
at their
doesn't
wedding.
he look great?
I
I know that we shouldn't celebrate the bit where he dresses up in like the tops and tails, because ultimately he's doing that to perform.
Yes.
Because Billy Zane is teasing him.
Yeah.
But when he does slick his hair back and he does get the tops and tails on, doesn't he look great?
Yeah,
What
and
a dish.
And Kathy Bates is the one that like helps him. She's like, you're about to go into the snake pit.
Yeah.
And she helps him perform and tells him which cutlery to use.
Yeah.
It's just great.
Good movie.
Rose,
Great movie.
they've got you trapped, Rose.
Yeah.
And that fire, it's gonna blow out. It's so hot.
The ship is going to suck us down.
Then we got in
So
1998.
obviously that's massive.
That's
hit.
huge.
Catapults. He could
Catapults.
have any film he wants then.
Totally catapults. And I think you can sort of see him do a couple of different things and settle into what we call like pure Leo. But next up, he does a film called The Man in the Iron Mask in 1998.
So I watched that a lot when I was a kid. I haven't seen it in many years, but I remember really liking it. Who else you got?
It's directed by Randall Wallace, stars Jeremy Irons, John Malkovich, and he plays King Louis XIV,
That's right.
a young King Louis XIV
Yes.
at the time. I've not seen it.
And
But,
it's a twin performance, I believe, because one of the twins is with the three. It's about the Three Musketeers.
Right.
And the other, he is also the king. Oh yeah, and it's great. I remember enjoying it. Yeah.
Yeah, I've not seen it. Then in 1998, he does Celebrity, which is a Woody Allen film I've also not seen, but that's in there. Followed up with a film I have seen in 2000, The Beach.
Yes.
Which is the first Danny Boyle, Alex Garland collaborator, novel written by Alex Garland that Danny Boyle, and it's the making of Alex Garland's career, I think, more prominently in film, because he had a novel of his adapted into a Danny Boyle film. The Beach, I think, is a film which is like, I look back at it and I think I really enjoy watching the first half of that film. And Leo's so great in it. And I think the premise is really enticing. But talk about a film completely just melting down and towards the end. If you've seen it, you kind of know it just sort of fizzles into obscurity a little bit and a really sort of unsatisfying
when he
conclusion.
It's a video game.
Just a load of stuff that doesn't work. And it gets bogged down in the action stuff with the drug people on the island. But the first half of that, the whole idea of like a society living in a beach away from tourism.
When did you last watch it?
Could have been 7 years ago.
Yeah. I think I know what you mean. I think there is something off. I know a lot of people really don't like it at all.
Yeah.
But I know there's an interesting idea. And Robert
Carlyle,
in a really
good
beginning.
scene. Yeah.
If you think about that, watching it, so this is basically the first big film he's done post. This is the first lead he's had post Titanic, and he got Danny Boyle. Had Danny Boyle made a movie post Trainspotting before The Beach? I'm not sure.
Ooh, yeah, I'd have to
so
check.
like that's a hot film to be in.
Yes, I think
Danny
Alex
Boyle
Garland.
famously was meant to be Ewan McGregor. They went for Leo. Danny Boyle and Ewan fell out. Yeah,
I think Alex Garland was like shocked that his book had been made into a film directed by Danny Boyle, big studio, big budget, on location. Leonardo DiCaprio was the star, and he was just like, I remember him saying, keep visiting the set and being like, I'm so completely like, I've withdrawn this whole thing to this machine. Not in a negative way, but he was like, this is no longer mine. It belongs to everyone else. I think that was quite like a interesting thing of his. Next up, 2 years later, in 2002, he teams up with Martin Scorsese for the first time as Amsterdam Valent in Gangs of New York. So
No, please.
I rewatched Gangs of New York for the first time since, I think, like the first time rewatching it ever. What it was available on Netflix, and I watched it, I'll admit, in 2 sittings because it's quite long. And I will say that my impression of the film, I was like, this is Martin Scorsese. It is really great. And Daniel Day-Lewis, I mean, it's just completely mesmerizing performance in everything he does. And I will give a shout out to the production design of it. You know, like all of the sort of like wooden beams and girders and the whole sort of assembly of the 5 points of New York. I think all of that is brilliant. I never really rewatching it properly got into it again. It's not that I think it's a bad film. I'm kind of like, it had been a bit obscure in my mind for a long time because I needed to rewatch it. And now I kind of put it in a box that I kind of had it in before. I mean, no ill will towards it. The cast are all brilliant. The set and the cinematography.
Where do you, how is Leo in it for start?
It's not his best.
No.
Like I think the accent work all round can be a little bit sketchy. It's not to say that he's bad in it. I think it was the right role for Leo at that time to elevate himself with Scorsese. I just am like, I didn't come away with it like I have when I rewatched other great films recently, where I'm like, that's still brilliant.
Is it very much like when Daniel Day-Lewis is on screen, it's electric. And then when he goes off, it's okay. I've heard a lot of people, again, I've not seen it for many, many years. I'm like you, do a rewatch. I've heard many, many people criticize Cameron Diaz actually and say she's miscast. Is that fair? I don't know.
I found, like I wouldn't just point it at Cameron Diaz. I'd say there's just like a handful of performances which are just a little bit off. I think there are a lot of big ideas going on in that film. There is a lot of accent setting, story, place, and lots of people on set at once. I'm almost like the film is a huge behemoth unto itself. But I didn't have a bad time. I'm kind of like, it's okay. I leave it over there in 2002. Do you know what I mean? It's an old film, but still interesting to watch. Then the same year, first time working with Mr. Steven Spielberg for Catch Me If You Can.
So can we just check what the time was between those two movies? I wonder what kind of Leo fever was.
That's good. You speak to the kids.
Well, I remember seeing Catch Me If You Can at the cinema at the time. I remember feeling a little bit cheeky.
Gangs of New York, 7th of January, 2003.
Okay. Thank you.
Oh, they were released within a month of each other.
That's
January
close.
and December of 2002, 2003.
Okay, so proper Leo fever. Yes, I saw Catch Me If You Can at the cinema when I was a kid. I was probably like 8 years old. I felt a bit naughty because it was my brother had a friend over, so my mum took him along. Yeah. And I remember thinking, there's a bit sexy, stuff. He like sort of basically rails Amy Adams as soon as they meet each other. And I remember being like, oh, but I loved Catch Me. I still do. I think it's a fantastic. Actually,
great movie.
I've had lots of good experiences with Catch Me If You Can. So I remember seeing it then as a kid and probably rewatching it. I love the kind of opening credits, the animation, and it's John Williams. I'm sure, isn't it? For that one thing.
Oh no, is it Danny Elfman?
Oh, the brilliant 60s kind of throwback. I love the iconography of it. I love
John Williams, sorry.
When the fly me to the moon and him in the style and meanwhile Tom Hanks in his hat and the glasses. And I remember about 10 years later I was in Cambodia and I was in a hostel in Phnom Penh and it was just like a quiet night. Everyone wanted to put on a movie. And I was like, let's put on like Catch Me If You Can. I would say there's like 5 of us watching it in this hostel. And then I had this wonderful thing where like halfway through the movie, I just like turned around and it was like 50 other people just like watching the movie there. Like, like when you have like food or something, you turn around, there's loads of birds ready to go. That's what it was like. They're all watching this movie.
It's very watchable, I think,
Catch Me If You Can. It's a great movie.
Do you know what? We mentioned Titanic and Romeo and Juliet, but in a lot of ways, I point at Catch Me If You Can as the performance for me that I think really elevates him. And he's not a sort of heartthrob in that. He's doing so much more. Like he's literally pretending to be other people. He's in every scene and he carries that film so well and he's still so young. He's and like charming and smart and it's just brilliant. It's a really smart film with a smart character in it.
And he's meant to be starting at like 16. He goes to like mid-20s maybe. And he's he runs down the street. He's got this anguish. A great Christopher Walken performance in that movie. Yeah. And I love watching Leo also play off other actors as well. And that's
going
great.
against Tom Hanks and just totally matching toe for toe with Tom.
You've no one else to call.
Yeah, it's great.
Great movie. Very rewatchable.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Teams up with Scorsese again in 2004 for The Aviator.
Another one that's on my rewatch list and probably above Gangs of New York, actually, if you put a gun to my head to go and rewatch. I think it's the one that has lots of good things in it. And when you did that game at the beginning with Jude Law, I'd forgotten, Jude Law comes in. And obviously the main story of The Aviator is not just that it's a biopic of Howard Hughes, who obviously was a visionary, he wanted to do flying and stuff, but also his debilitating OCD.
Yeah.
And I remember because he gets this very specific plate of food given, and Jude Law's this kind of cat, and he just kind of reaches over and takes something from Leo's plate, and Leo just sort of goes, oh, and that's just like a throwaway moment, and it's just so well directed. But I need to see it again. Great cast in there. Maybe you've got Kate Blanchett as Catherine Hepburn and Alec Baldwin. And
I've not seen that film for 20 years.
Well,
I think I would have seen it on Sky in 2005 probably.
And it wouldn't have interested you. It wouldn't have interested us.
I don't think I would have properly engaged with it. So it's like I have technically seen it, but I really hold very few memories of it. But the start of the Scorsese partnership. Next up in 2006, The Departed.
The Departed. Great. One of the best.
What a film.
Great movie.
I mean, he's clearly started working with Scorsese and's gone, I like what you do there.
3 Scorsese movies in 5 years, is it?
2002 to 4 years.
So in 4 years, he did 3 Scorsese movies and a Spielberg movie.
Yeah. He's like, who's that Robert De Niro guy? Yeah, I'm coming for his lunch. I want everything he's ever had. But you imagine he must have had a great time on Gangs and just gone, I've got this next project and this next project. And if you look at like Leonardo DiCaprio's IMDb for the past 8 years, he's always had 3 pre-production Scorsese films in there. And you're like, what's Killers of the Flower Moon? I don't know.
It's
it
like
sounds like it's going to be good.
It's probably prostrated himself on the altar of Scorsese and was like, whatever you do, I'll be there for you. I give my life unto you and all your projects. Great movie, great cast.
The Departed is so good.
We've always said evil Matt Damon is one of our favourite kinds of Matt Damon.
Matt Damon. Yeah, a wonderful ensemble of many different characters doing brilliant things. Amazing twists and turns. Yeah. Just everyone in that film doing brilliant work, and just the storytelling in it, the way the scenes melt in and out of each other. It's a really emotionally scarred and darker Leo than we've seen in everything else. It's incredibly violent and stressful. It's almost like a Safdie brothers energy to it before that, like this sort of I'm in such a crazy intense situation, there are so many things at play, and he's such a small part of it actually, but yet he's the center. It's just so good.
Your sound from the Pulp Kitchen quiz last year was my hand steady as a rock.
Steady as a rock, and the score of everything layering. It's just layered storytelling from Scorsese at its very best.
I love it. It's one of we talk about it all the time.
Yeah, it really is. It really is brilliant. It's something I'd like on 4K Blueray, George, to flick on and watch.
But then I would say, does it look like
That's the thing.
Whereas something like The Aviator is like a prestigious looking picture.
Yeah. There's a factor there. There is. Also in 2006, he comes out with Blood Diamond.
Yes,
directed by Edward Zwick. Yeah, starring Jimon Hounsou, Jennifer Connelly. Into I think this is Leo's action DVD era.
Yes.
We're at peak DVD, sort of 2005, 2006. And
I've only seen it once.
Yeah.
And I thought it was okay, but I maybe I wasn't watching it very closely, watching it at home.
I think I've seen it a couple, maybe 2-3 times.
You quite a lot.
What do I say?
I don't know. You just sort of quote things about it. You just do his
God
accent.
left this place a long time ago.
Yeah.
I know. I go in LA, it's bling bling, but out in Africa, it's bling bang. Eh? He's doing a South African accent.
What's his character's name in it?
Denny Archer.
Right, Denny Archer.
Yeah.
It's a good movie.
Yeah, I think it's really good.
Good action in there, I think.
Good action.
It's got solid Leo, isn't it?
And sort of like a damning indictment on the conflict diamond industry. It did have sort of splash screens about the conflict diamonds and the big companies that are responsible for it. There's a Michael Sheen in there who plays one of the. He's in it as one of the luxury diamond dealers who's he's the end point for dealing the diamond or something. Okay. I was put Jimon Hounsou on the map as well as an actor, didn't it?
He was in Gladiator.
Oh, that's true. That's true. I take it back. Also in 2008, Body of Lies, which I've seen once.
Same, and I remember I've seen it once. I don't really remember much about it, other than it was peak. I think it was it's such a 2008 movie.
Yeah.
It's peak obsession and interest and fear and sort of harebrainness around Afghanistan and the Middle East.
Directed by Ridley Scott. Again, now working with another great director. I remember Oscar Isaac, spoilers here, it's very early on, but gets RPG'd in the face. Yeah.
Before we know who Oscar Isaac was. Yeah. And it's kind of about, I remember a line in it about conflict, which is they were struggling to fight the enemy because the enemy was analog and working at street level, and you have to regress to that level.
Right.
I don't really I couldn't tell you a lot about it. I think it's a bit
Nobody
of a
brings
miss.
up Body of Lies.
I don't think it's a fun watch.
No.
I don't think it's an interesting watch.
I'm sure he's great in it, but like that blue DVD thing really feels
Yeah.
like peak DVD. It's like, it's not Heat, but we'll give it the Heat.
Who's
sort
the
of
other guy
grade.
in it?
Russell Crowe.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah,
It's very generic and forgettable. I think Aaliyah probably just chose it because he wanted to work with Ridley Scott.
Yeah, just add him to the stamp collection of directors at that point.
Look, Marla Cross I worked with.
Yeah. Next up, also in 2008, a real favorite of mine is Revolutionary Road. So he reteams with Kate Winslet. It's just got a great cast. You've got David Harbour, Kathy Bates, Michael Shannon. And I think it's a really underrated film. And I think the performance of Leo and Kate Winslet, especially in this film, is really, really good. Directed by Sam Mendes.
I need to check that out. A friend of mine also loves the book, so I'm going to watch that.
Yeah, I read the book as well. Also great. I think the film is a bit more enjoyable than the book, dare I say. I think the film brings the drama out of the source material a lot more.
You know what? I'm going to watch that soon.
Yeah.
I can just feel it. You know what? I want a prestigious drama with some good talent. I'll watch that.
It's a really nasty, dark relationship drama.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, this is just like quite sinister 1950s.
John Carroll Lynch in it as well.
Is John Carroll Lynch in
I'm just. It's just all the actors you've mentioned.
No,
just, like,
he could be in this,
Yeah, yeah.
but I don't think he is. No. John Carroll Lynch is in this next one from 2010. Another Scorsese take with Shutter Island.
Shutter Island. I think I've only seen it once. I quite enjoyed it. We've had this conversation before, but I was one of those things which is like. I got the ending like so early on. So that I felt a little bit like I was sitting on the substitute bench and a little bit waiting for the game to end because I wait for the film to catch up. It's not to say I don't enjoy the kind of all the twisty turns in it. I actually think, wow, as we're talking about it, it's been 15 years since I've seen it. So really watching it now would be like watching it for the first time. I remember Michelle Williams and Mark Ruffalo. I like the kind of detective, big trench coat kind of vibe about it.
Yeah.
Also, I like that it's not a typical Scorsese movie.
No, it's very different. It stands out actually.
Yeah, based on a standard paperback. I will give it a rewatch, but it's not something you have a much closer affinity to it. I don't really hold any regard for it.
It's got a great cast. You've got Mark Ruffalo, Ben Kingsley, Michelle Williams, Ellen Mortimer, Max von Sydow, and I like the layering of the mystery, and in particular his work with Michelle Williams in the flashbacks, both in what happened in, if you've seen the film, we won't spoil it, but what happened with their relationship. Little moments and scenes where it dips into his life, like him being a soldier, liberating death camps and layering that in. It's the first time I heard On the Nature of Daylight by Max Richter used in there very well. And I think there's definitely a predictability to it, but I always remember it being like a horror film that people were watching at the time and it being very scary. Oh, who else is in it who's really good? He's sadly no longer with us, that actor in one scene who's never mind. But I think it's a good fun watch and a different Scorsese film if you were looking for one. Next,
by the way, honestly, just a slight tangent here just to break into this about when it's talking about movies that you've seen or haven't seen for a long time. When you're walking around with a movie in your head, you think you've seen it, you may have seen it a long time ago. And then when you actually watch it again, it's like, so for example, just a massive tangent, we'll get back to Leo, but I watched The Chamber of Secrets yesterday.
Yes, yeah.
And in putting it on and watching it, I realized that the only other time that I've seen that film was at the cinema 20 years ago. Yeah, it's like 20 something years ago. And in my head, I was like, I've seen The Chamber of Secrets. I was like, yeah. But when it actually started, I was like, I don't remember any of this.
Yeah.
And it's like talking about these movies. It's like talking about Shutter Island. Yes, I have seen it. And I could summarize the basic plot points on a back of on a post-it note.
These noughties ones.
But actually, there's so much more to this film. There's so much more depth to it. So you're kind of exciting me because I think, actually, there's so much more I can watch.
These are all, on average, very, very good films.
Yes. Particularly on this, now we're getting into his really good run.
So I think coming into 2010, which I know Shutter Island is 2010, I think Leo, you can look at now really ramping up and being not the Scorsese and Spielberg films he did before, but I think you can see him. First of all, I think he works on fewer films. Yeah. So you can see him doing two films a year. I think he becomes a lot more selective. There's a bigger gap between his films. And I think he probably is happy to wait for the great director to come to him with a script for him that he does. So coming up in 2010 now, it's Inception. Yeah. Only time he worked with Christopher Nolan. Huge film. The film after Christopher Nolan did The Dark Knight. He sort of tastefully didn't immediately come straight out with The Dark Knight Rises and made Inception, which I don't think he could have made unless he'd done Batman and the Dark Knight.
I remember so vividly being a 16-year-old at
yeah.
school and the excitement that Nolan was bringing a original IP. This
Yes.
wasn't a Batman movie. It's like he's done his own thing. And I remember watching, oh my God, I can see it now. I'm being in the
remember
year
seeing
11 room watching the trailer on my friend Hayden's laptop and watching it. And we were like, wow, what is that?
Yeah.
What is
Inception? Yeah. And the image of the world
Yes.
folding up in half, like that was such a. There's nothing I'd never seen anything like that. And I remember I went to go see it with a big group of friends, and half the people were seeing it for the second time, and they were like, "Look, they really wanted to see it again because they wanted to watch it again to try and help them piece it together because they didn't. They got a lot of it, but they wanted to watch it again. They were like, you might not get everything the first time you watch it, but they were like, really try and concentrate and get to grips with it." I remember seeing it. I did see it twice in cinemas.
I'd say it took me the third watch. It took me 5 years to really get on board with it, actually.
Oh, really?
So I watched it in the cinema, liked it.
Yeah.
I thought it was a little bit overhyped. I thought everyone was falling over themselves to be like, oh, what does it mean? I was like, I got it. I was like, I think we got it. I get it. And then I watched it again about 6 months later and I was like, yeah. No, I was still, not quite. And then it was maybe like it was 6 years later, actually. I remember it was 2016 because you and I had been rehearsing for this Edinburgh play and you talked about Inception a lot. Right. And in between the gap of us rehearsing and then actually going up to Edinburgh, I went home and I watched properly. And then I was like, yeah. It's a good film. Now it clicks for me. Good film.
Great stuff with Marion Cotillard there. Cotillard, thank you.
Sorry. Every time.
And it's just a smart film.
It's just
there's a great a graphic that shows you like the 5 different layers the film operates in the timeline, and it helps you understand like where everyone went and like falling through the levels.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt,
Cillian
Tom
Murphy,
Hardy, and that's
Tom
very much
Hardy, a very sort of like a very different Tom Hardy than you see nowadays.
Yeah,
I don't know, just like you're like that. Yeah, okay, I guess that is Tom Hardy. He's quite fun in it,
and all of their initials spell dreams. Have you noticed that?
Oh, right.
It's like Eames, Ariadne. Mal, except for Cobb, it's something like that. If you spell it all out,
I always thought
Saito.
Oh right, yeah. I always thought that was the best Bond audition for Tom Hardy if there ever was one, but not at the right time because Daniel Craig was doing his thing. Do you know what I mean? Like he was very smartly dressed, suave, posh English.
Do you not think the only one thing about is Inception is that do you not think some of the action scenes are a little underwhelming?
There's an element, there's a dryness to some of it, and I think the some of the logic about the people attacking them in the dreams, I understand what it is, but I think when you're watching it, it isn't always clear like who these people are and why they're attacking, and I think there's a lack of connection to the footmen in those dream levels. So I'm like, I guess we're fighting these people, especially in the snow level. I'm like, Tom Hardy goes on this amazing ski action sequence, and I'm like, this is happening for some reason to cut between Cillian Murphy crying and other bits. But
that and
great score,
scene
great
with the
performances.
van flips. You know how brilliant is that when the van he's driving the van
in slow
flips,
motion,
and the corridors
happening.
Everything.
The Joseph Gordon-Levitt scene when he goes through that. It is a good film. It's a bloody good film. It's
I'm not
really
trying to say
good.
I didn't like it before. Like I hold it up now. It's a great.
I watched that. I did an IMAX double bill.
By the way, Anna's never seen it.
Oh my god!
I know. So I'm actually really due. I actually should be watching that.
You should do that. That's a great one to own on Blu-ray.
Yeah, of course it should be. But like recently,
she's in for a real treat.
I know because we watched The Social Network recently, which she hadn't seen.
Yeah,
she liked it very much.
Yeah,
but
great movie. You should, and you can sort of coach her through it a little bit because it's a lot to take on. Not that she can't do it, but it's in like it's
what's happening?
It's good to watch it with someone who understands what's going on, and you can refresh it. It's a great film.
Yeah,
it's a really great film, and I think for Christopher Nolan, not that this episode is about him. Showed that he wasn't a one-trick Batman pony.
Oh no, totally.
In case you were wondering, people who watched The Prestige will also like The Prestige. It's also a really good film.
It was also just like I just remember it being such a massive movie, and the response to it was so much like, oh my god, blockbuster movies can be financially successful and intelligent and smart and interesting, and really the Christopher Nolan we have now comes from Inception.
Yes.
That's the dawn of his next stage of his career,
and really like the proliferation of his style, and his font.
Oh yeah.
Crucially,
and
the font.
Heavy music.
Because The Prestige has the thin version of his font, which he brought back for Interstellar in some senses, but he actually also used the thicker font in Interstellar. Do you know what I mean? He's got his bold and his sort of off Times New Roman version. Anyway, I could talk about this all day. Next up in 2011, he works with Clint Eastwood for J. Edgar, which I've not seen.
No, obviously, I think this is one of the misfire ones. But again, Clint Eastwood is actually a fairly competent director and has made some really interesting films. I don't think J. Edgar is one of them. I think it ended up being quite a stuffy, safe, staid biopic. about former FBI director.
It's got a huge cast. We've got Leonardo DiCaprio, Armie Hammer, Naomi Watts, Judi Dench, Joss Lucas, Damon Herriman, who's we see him in a lot of stuff now. Adam Driver, Ed Westwick. I've not seen it, but
no.
Do you think it's worth jumping into? You don't.
I have not heard anyone talk about the movie J. Edgar since it came out. No one is going, tell you what, that Leo and J. Edgar, because no, it's a really, I think, heavy, quite dry.
It looked
heavy and dry,
dark. Was it got a very dark film?
Yeah, I also think that
literally dark.
Yeah, literally. I also think that maybe people have moved on. They just don't find the story of the guy who set up the FBI that interesting.
Yeah.
Even though he did actually have it was quite an interesting life, actually, J. Edgar Hoover. But anyway, no, I've never met anyone who's watched that film.
You know what my favorite film is? J. Edgar.
Yeah,
like no, you never hear that.
That's how I would know if someone's AI. Because they're like, no one's watched that movie.
It's with a great star and a great director with a great cast.
The Armie Hammer and Adam Driver and Leonardo DiCaprio.
Edgar, 2011. In 2012, he is in Django Unchained.
Yes,
Quentin Tarantino.
The first time that he takes he's not top billing in this. The first time in over 12 years, about 10, 12 years. And
the last time he wasn't top billing was in 1998's Celebrity, the Woody Allen film.
There you go, yeah. And so he took a demotion, as it were, to become and Leonardo DiCaprio, because he's clearly someone who likes to work with interesting directors. He wasn't going to pass up the opportunity to work with Quentin Tarantino. But also,
when he does turn up,
he's fantastic. But also, brilliant. When I watched Django recently, it is actually his film from the second act, second half onwards. It is Jamie Foxx's film, the first bit. But like when Leo turns up,
the plot revolves around him.
Completely takes over. And then for that sort of like mostly middle shot. And then there's the sort of end sequence, which is much more Jamie Foxx again.
Yeah.
But he's great. He's
brilliant. I mean, the sort of dinner table scene with the amazing Christoph Waltz and Samuel L. Jackson. There are so many dynamics at play at that. The whole thing to do with the skull and the picking at it. Just
he cuts his hand.
Famously. He's all right. The anger in his face. It's just Tarantino makes good films.
Yeah, he makes a great partnership there, and one that again we get to, but he returns to. But yeah, a great Leo performance in a good movie.
Yeah. The following year in 2013, he reteams with Baz Luhrmann for The Great Gatsby.
Yeah, and I sort of mentioned this briefly on the main show this week, but I quite like Baz Luhrmann's The Great Gatsby. I think Baz Luhrmann absolutely is a perfect fit for the spectacle, the kind of orgastic conspicuous consumption, everything, and the parties and everything, the excess he captures really brilliantly. And I still maintain it has one of the best film trailers of all time.
I agree.
And I played you a sound game a few months ago from the Joel Edgerton, the tense room. That works. There are just a couple of scenes I find between I remember one in particular between Leo and Kerry Mulligan, both amazing actors, who, when they're like, the actual human drama, the human level felt a little bit flat. And there's one scene when they're like lit by moonlight and they're up close, but you can tell it's all kind of a sound stage. Yeah. And the CG-ness of it, the human element, a bit flat, but the rest of it, quite fun.
I'm convinced, because when that sound game has come up, we've been here, like, God, I really want to rewatch that, because like Joel Edgerton's brilliant in that. And you've got Tobey Maguire and Jason Clarke, who we love. Yeah. And I just go, God, do I really want to watch The Great Gatsby again? But I think I could enjoy it, but I think I'd have the same thing where I go, elements of this don't quite come through the screen, which maybe people would have said at the time that they watched it, but maybe got wrongly criticised for the recency bias of it not being perfect at the time. But now, like, withdrawn from the release date, it would be interesting to go back and actually evaluate it.
And when you and I were like, I think, primed at the prime age to watch it, because I don't know what you did at A-level, but we did Gatsby at A-level. So this film came, I remember I showed my English teacher the trailer, like, as I was leaving school.
Oh, look what I've seen.
Yeah. And he was like, wow, that does look very good.
Thank you, George.
He was such a sweet man, my English teacher. He was just, he didn't smoke. He was just like, he was like, well, that looks very good. Hello. That's how he would greet people. He was so nice, Jerry. Yeah. Anyway, that's how I feel about that movie, and brilliant blonde shock of hair he has in there. Yeah.
The green light flying and the toasting of the martini glass.
Every Leo movie has a meme. The Django one with the drink where he's like,
true. Every Leo. I guess Revenant is like him crawling through shit.
And he, what was it in? And he works with his best friend Tobey Maguire in that movie.
They'd worked together as kids, hadn't they? They always auditioned as kids.
They
like Ryan Gosling.
They are good. They are. He's like him, Tobey Maguire, and Elijah Wood are kind of like all in the same ilk. But I know him and Tobey are like really close. Tobey Maguire, look, we love him. not the world's strongest actor.
I do love him because he's my childhood in a lot of ways.
Do you? Okay,
I don't rate him as a top actor though.
that's what I meant to say. Do you know what? Most interesting thing I've seen him in was Babylon.
Yeah.
But that's so late in the film that I kind of forget that it's in there, like a pile of clothes at the bottom of the laundry pile.
Yeah.
Like, I go, oh, you're in here as well.
When Tobey Maguire pops up, I'm like, it's Tobey Maguire.
Yeah.
He's still just sort of hanging out. Next up, same year in 2013, he does The Wolf of Wall Street.
Well,
Scorsese again.
I almost think the definitive Leo movie and the definitive Scorsese-Leo collaboration, one of Scorsese's best, one of Leo's best. Some people have different opinions about The Wolf of Wall Street. I think it's a bloody good movie and a bloody good ride. And I was thinking about it on the way here, about a lot of people talk about whether or not it's like a kind of commodifying the world it depicts and if it's critical enough. I think what we forget about The Wolf of Wall Street, that it is entirely told from Jordan's point of view. And I think Scorsese is trying to play the joke on us at the end where, like, you know, when it's like it's all falling apart for Jordan Belfort and then he goes, but then I remembered I was rich. And it cuts to him playing tennis in prison.
Yeah.
And I think Scorsese's trying to be like the joke. This guy, the buck never stops.
Yeah.
And when you as an audience are expecting a cathartic moment of justice being served, it gets cut away. So I think the film is doing more than some people give it credit for. But as a performance, a Leo performance,
Incredible.
it's so good.
Firing on all cylinders.
You see him comedically at his best.
Yeah.
You see him, he's vulnerable in it. He gets mad. He's
Physicality of the
suave,
role as well.
Physical and surrounded again by a crop of great supporting actors. And I love the weird flirtatious energy with Joanna Lumley, the great chemistry he has with Margot Robbie, the kind of scene on the boat we referenced recently with Kyle Chandler. Could you say that again? No, I didn't. No, I didn't. Get the fuck off my boat.
I think that Wolf of Wall Street and Catch Me If You Can would make a great back-to-back companion watch because I think they're both really watchable for the same kind of reasons. There's a sense of like escalating drama, smartness, cheekiness, getting away with something, the comeuppance of it. I think both of them have like an eerily similar effectiveness in that sense.
I think with Leo's best performances, there is always actually this element of like slight playful buffoonery. I think people often think of him as a very serious leading man,
he can be silly.
but like he's fun in Titanic, and when we get to One Battle After Another, there's goofiness and funniness in that. And Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and like Django, yes, he's very good. He's very serious in that. But what I love about Wolf of Wall Street is he does carry the movie. Basically, he's in every scene. And he's just playing the full range of his skills. And I think it's just such a symphony of his talent.
Again, like we said it before, the cast is amazing. Like the elevating of Jonah Hill, playing to his strengths, but
one
also
of the best
sort of like
supporting and acting performances.
incredible. Margot Robbie, we mentioned. Matthew McConaughey, scene-stealing moment.
Of course.
Kristen Milioti, great. John Favreau in there. Rob Reiner, John Bernthal, Kyle Chandler, we mentioned.
Spike Jonze is in one scene.
Spike Jonze, Joanna Lumley, we said. Just like really, really top actor. PJ Byrne, who's good in everything he crops up in. Do you know the guy? He's in this guy.
Oh yeah,
he's really good. Like with the glasses,
he's
and
got the wig. Rugrat, they call him.
Just a brilliant movie, and again, really watchable. If someone was like, "We're going to watch Wolf of Wall Street tonight," even though it's 3 hours long, I go, "Yeah, I'm down for that."
And there's something again. I'm trying to talk around our embargo, but like there's something to do similar with One Battle After Another, which is another 3-hour movie, edited in a way that actually makes it quite brief and feel like a huge amount of brevity.
Zips along.
And there's something about Wolf of Wall Street, 3 hours long, but you can just throw that on. It's such a good movie.
A little tease for our One Battle After Another review coming out next week. So now I think you notice release-wise, he starts waiting at least 2 years to put out films. You don't get this like 2 films in a year, 1 film next year. So after 2013's Wolf of Wall Street, he comes out with The Revenant in 2015 with Alejandro Iñárritu, the film that wins him the Oscar for Best Actor. A film I've only seen once, and I think I do want to rewatch. It's not a pleasant film to jump back into. I do feel like watching it once, I get most of what I need to watch out of it. But I do remember admiring it and thinking it's worth going back to. I do remember people watching the trailer for that, and just a consensus would be like, that film looks so good. The cinematography looks amazing. It looks gritty. It looks grounded. The cast is great.
I do think I'd almost want to watch it The primary reason, actually, I think, would be for the Emmanuel Lubezki cinematography.
Yeah,
One of the
which was
best opening
stunning.
scenes.
Oh my God, yeah.
That one take outside.
It is what he won for, but I agree with you. I think Wolf of Wall Street is the film that I
think
look
so.
at and go, that was what he was meant to win it for, but
Yeah.
didn't because it was
McConaughey.
McConaughey at the time.
Because
who
again,
won.
as always happens with the Oscars, the story is better than the film. The story wins. Everyone wanted to get behind the comeback from McConaughey.
He was too comfortable having fun, being rich, partying, having sex, whereas McConaughey lost all the weight and suffered. So then Revenant, he's like, fine, I'll crawl through shit, get mauled by a bear and eat a bison's liver and sleep inside the court carcass of his own horse to get the Oscar. And he did. But
I know what you mean. It's quite it's a grueling film.
Yeah.
And someone actually, I remember an email that came into the show a few years ago. Someone really liked the fight scene between him and Tom Hardy in that movie. Because it's very clunky.
Slow reload.
Slapstick,
leaning over,
shambling. And I think that's actually very true. It's very accurate for a fight scene to be chaotic.
So then we don't see Leo until after 2015, till 2019.
Really?
Yeah, don't see him. And then he comes back with Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. So he had a big break and came back to work with the best.
With the best for maybe one of Tarantino's best movies.
Yeah.
And
remember, it's the Holy Trinity: Leo, Brad Pitt, who he'd never worked before, and Margot Robbie, who he'd done Wolf with.
And I know I've said this before on the show. Wasn't a huge fan of Once Upon a Time. First time I watched it, had a complete 180 when I watched it again a year later, and I think it's just fantastic. I love everything in it. And again, I'll talk about this when we do one battle after another. But there's a vulnerability in Leo in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Like, I remember the scene where he's talking with do you remember that really good child actress that he's working with on set? And he's like crying, and it's quite funny because he's reading this book that's all about a guy who's past his best, and he's like, "Oh God, no shit," and that's really great. And it's actually Brad Pitt who has to deal with the sinister stuff.
Yeah.
He has to deal with the stuff up at the ranch, but it's Leo that's
Leo's
doing the kind
like
of
pathetic stuff, embarrassing, the cringeworthy moments you have to yourself in your trailer after you've messed up. The goddamn embarrass yourself for all those goddamn people, and just like the icing his eyes to try and get rid of the puffiness off the drinking.
So good.
Yeah,
great movie, great performances. I do think it's such, when I think about it, it's such an elevation for Tarantino. It's just such a next step for him. I actually kind of wish that if he is serious about retiring, he should have just done it after that one.
Right, yeah.
It would be such the perfect
Cool Kill Bill
song.
2 films, and then
Cool Kill Bill 2 films. Then you're done, or just like don't come up with this 10 movie rule. Like there's so much. It's such a clear. It's so much more emotionally intelligent than Tarantino's other movies, and like. I thought it was indulgent the first time I watched it, and the next time round, I realized everything is actually really well placed.
I think it needs 2 watches, that film.
Yeah.
It needs to be seen twice. So then we have this little thing called COVID-19, but he comes back after that with a film called Don't Look Up in 2021, directed by Adam McKay, which is a strange pick in a way
I would say
for
so,
Leo. But also Adam McKay, I really felt like was coming out of like the Step Brothers comedy era and looking to do something really different. He'd done The Big Short, but Don't Look Up, he was really assembling a big cast. It was a Netflix film, do you remember?
I think, I often forget that Leo's in this movie.
Yeah.
It almost seems...
it's quite disguised in a way, the glasses and the beard.
It's not a handsome role.
No.
It's not a step down, but it's like,
He's
a
not a cool
Netflix
character.
movie.
Yeah.
I think it's because Leo's been obviously a very big advocate about climate change and the environment, and obviously this movie is a whole satire and parable of that.
And just like a COVID information rhetoric as well. Like it's kind of, do I want to rewatch it? I've seen it once and I enjoyed it. I kind of don't know if I'm like...
we think it's just... Because we broadly liked it, actually.
Yeah, we did. It's not that I don't want to rewatch it. I'm like, is that about a thing going on in that moment in time that's still kind of...
I didn't think it was about COVID though.
No,
it was about climate
but I felt
change,
like it came out...
It was more... You mean it felt
timely.
better but at the time, and now we might be like, oh, okay.
Yeah. So he comes back in 2023, again with... Scorsese for Killers of the Flower Moon.
Thank you, my God.
Yeah.
No, for a second I was just like, has he made any more movies?
So that's his 5th. He did Gangs, Aviator, Departed, Shutter Island, Wolf of Wall Street, Killers of the Flower
So he
Moon.
takes a 10-year break. So he does like 5 movies in 10 years with Marty.
Yeah.
And then he takes a 10-year
Goes
break.
to do something else, comes back
then-
to Scorsese. And I think he's set to be back with
Yes, he is.
Scorsese again for something in the future. But yeah.
Yes.
Killers of the Flower
Yeah.
Moon from 2023. Huge, epic crime drama. And we, I think, both really, really admired it. I remember you had seen it before me and you were trying not to pre-hype it with me. And then I took Anna to see it because you had already seen it. And I was so excited, and I was slightly daunted by the runtime and daunted by the epicness of the story. But you can go and listen to our review. But I sort of like agreeing with something you said. It's like as soon as the film starts, you realize you're in the steady hands of Martin Scorsese. Yeah. And a story and a director and a cast deserved the runtime and the steady hand to tell that story. And I'm actually ready to rewatch it. I think the film's really nasty and sinister. Incredible Robert De Niro performance. Moments with people like Jesse Plemons and Brendan Fraser. Yeah. It's a really, really good film.
You know what it is? I call it, it's a red wine movie. Yeah. I want to pour a nice glass of red and sit down with that on an autumn, on a day like today when it's pissing it down outside. Yes. I want to be like, let's watch Killers. Do you remember that? Do you remember that shot? It's sort of in this last third where he walks into the room and it's like a dark room, but it's filled with basically the elite, and it's the doctors, the lawyers, and everything. It's the white elite of the town. Yeah. But it's shot in such a sinister way. What I like about Leo in Killers, he's a dumb character. Yeah. He's an idiot who makes mistakes. He has this love and this relationship with amazing Lily Gladstone, but he's foolish and he's easily corrupted by one of De Niro's best
He
performances.
does nasty things, but only at a surface understanding of what he's doing. Yes. And I think the nastiest of that film, I think, catches up with you slowly. I don't think you realize necessarily all the components going on until it's far too late and you're so far in. It's really well crafted.
Depiction of violence, I remember, is interesting. It is shot in a way that is not excessive but very shocking. When the violence happens, and sometimes it's very bold-faced and kind of confrontational and upfront about it, you think, oh, that's so chilling. The violence is so chilling and calculated because this is about greed.
Also, it's a story that takes place over years and years and decades. And the runtime, I think, in some ways helps you understand like how it was slow. I don't want to spoil it, but how like what happened was slowly infused into this community over such a long time. And you step back of it once you've seen it and you just think, that is so, so dark. And a really important story, I think, that was maybe a bit criminally undertold.
Yeah, and I think in a way the film, I mean, it got recognised, but I think a lot of people slightly sidestepped it a little bit because they went, oh, it's a bit long. But I'm like, The Brutus got loads of hype, and that was just as long. But what? Because it had an interval in, everyone fell over themselves.
Break, yeah.
Also, I think a lot of people. I had to correct a friend of mine on this because I think a lot of people didn't look close enough. They saw Killers of the Flower Moon. One of my friends was like, oh, I don't want to see that. So it's a white savior movie. And I was like, it is literally the opposite of that. I was like, do you really know? Have they seen it? No, they hadn't seen it.
I was like,
no, they had seen the post and they were like, oh, I don't want to watch that. And I was like, this is the thing. It was like, there's so much more nuance in the story. It really is the opposite of that. But a great movie with a great Leo performance.
So next up is One Battle After Another, which we have seen, but we're just embargoed to talk about. So please look out for next week's episode. But just talking broadly, first time he's working with Paul Thomas Anderson, and still he's very much prominent in the poster. It's Leonardo DiCaprio, and like without going into our review, you and I were both excited at that matchup, weren't we? We were like, those are two.
He's gone back to the director shop, and he's gone, I've already bought Scorsese, Spielberg, Tarantino, Ridley Scott. Paul Thomas Anderson. Haven't worked with him. I'd like to do that. Yeah,
Spielberg done. Let's get the round.
Nolan done.
I think he's got a shelf, and he just like puts them on his.
That's really is. Like, who needs Oscars when you've worked with some of the best directors and delivered great movies?
If you are the best, like you do want to get to the end of your career and say, at the time I was working with the artists I had available, James Cameron, I worked with as many of them as I could.
Also, isn't it interesting that like all of these Leo films, and when we get to One Battle After, we'll talk about it. But it's like there's also he casts a very good light on the other actors working in it. Yeah, like One Battle After Another has loads of other people in it. It's kind of like an ensemble thing, and like Killers did, and so we've got to the end. Basically, he's a very good actor who's delivered some absolute classic. Okay, here's a question for you. Has he been in terms of the ratio of best great movies in his career? Now, how do I describe that? You know, I mean, like if you were to like measure his filmography against like another massive actor like Tom Cruise, Leo's been in
more better movies.
Whereas he's been in probably fewer films than Tom Cruise, but he's done more better movies. As Leo, as an actor, does he hold the record for being in the most best movies?
So, George, this leads on to one of my games, which is that I would say, looking at his career, he probably has potentially the highest average Rotten Tomatoes score for an actor. Yeah. So my question for you, George, is, can you tell me what are Leo's top 5 Rotten Tomatoes score films? So we've just gone through all of the films. I have his top 5 films,
yeah.
as according to Rotten Tomatoes. Can you tell me what those films are?
Okay.
And you can also guess the percentage if you want afterwards.
Inception.
Inception is his 4th at what percent? I'll tell you the percent.
No. Let me start.
Oh, yeah. Okay, no,
I'll guess,
guess
but
it,
then you
guess
tell
it,
me.
yeah.
It's not the main guess, but
Yeah.
96.
Inception is at 87%.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so
So that's the 4th highest Rotten Tomatoes score.
Killers of the Flower Moon?
Killers of the Flower Moon is his 2nd at 94% on Rotten
nice.
Tomatoes.
Yeah, to be fair, bloody good movie. Okay,
Yeah.
Titanic?
Titanic is not on this list.
Okay. I'm going to say Catch Me If You Can.
Catch Me If You Can is number 1.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
at-
90.
We did this recently, actually.
6.
96%.
96,
That's
yeah.
his highest thing, which I think is better. But sorry, I'll let you
So
finish.
number 1, Catch Me If You Can. Number 2, Killers of the Flower Moon. Okay,
Number 4, Inception. You've got 2 more in the top 5.
Wolf of Wall Street.
Not on this list.
Revenant.
No.
Hold on.
You were gushing about it.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yes, that's the 5th at
89.
85.
Oh, hang on. What was the...
Inception was 87.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So you got that number 3.
Romeo and Juliet.
No.
It's not Titanic. It's not. Don't Catch Me If You Can.
I'll give you a clue.
Departed.
Yes. I was going to say it's directed by Martin Scorsese. 91% for The Departed. So at number 5, Once Upon a Time at 85%, Inception at 87%, The Departed at 91%, Killers of the Flower Moon at 94%, and Catch Me If You Can at 96%. And I would say, George, I kind of am happy to call that the top 5. Those are very, very good
Those
Leonardo
are great.
DiCaprio films.
If those are your top 5 movies on Rotten Tomatoes,
Yeah.
you can basically retire.
Yeah. It's got a
Fantastic
very high
movies.
average. So my last game for you, George. So we all know that Leonardo DiCaprio's highest grossing film of all time is...
Titanic.
Yes, at 2.2 billion. But can you tell me what the rest of the top 5 of Leonardo DiCaprio's highest grossing films are?
Wolf of Wall Street.
That is the 5th highest at $390 million.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
No, not on this list. It's a big one in there. Big film.
Inception.
Yes, that's the 2nd highest at $830 million.
Shutter Island.
No, definitely not.
So I've got 1, 2, and 5. Did I? No, I've got
You've
one.
got Titanic, you've got Inception, and you've got The Wolf of Wall Street. You're missing 3 and 4.
Great Gatsby.
No,
Oh.
but not a bad guess.
Django.
That is the 4th at $450 million. This one I'm actually a little bit surprised it's on this list.
Revenant.
Yeah, number 3 at $540 million.
Have just been like the Oscar buzz, just keeping it alive. For
and
like
it's like get
4
some good
months.
things going on there. So at 5th, Wolf of Wall Street with 390 million, Django Unchained with 450, The Revenant at 540, Inception at 830 million, and Titanic at a whopping 2.2 billion with a B.
Yeah, he's done very well for himself.
He's
hasn't
done,
he?
he's
There
done
you go.
very well for himself.
Now-
Very proud of him.
I'll tell you this. Now, I know that we only started from like Romeo and Juliet onwards.
Yeah.
But of the films that we have discussed today,
Yes.
I don't think we could say that any of them are stinkers. Like J.
No,
Edgar,
not
we
a
haven't
stinker.
seen. Body of Lies, mediocre.
The Beach has
The wo-
redeeming qualities.
Yes, I see what you mean. So maybe The Beach is the weakest.
I don't think if I put on The Beach for a crowd right now, they would be like, oh, this
No.
is rubbish. I think they would go, the end was no good.
But you know what I mean? Like it's not like we've been running through his list and
No.
gone. Like with Brad Pitt, there was a few we went, okay, that's not very good.
Yeah.
But actually,
They're
all of them are
all-
pretty. The worst it is mediocre.
Roll a dice on these, you're watching a great film.
That's it. And let's go from 2010 onwards. With the exception of J. Edgar probably being the weakest, then Gatsby, but the rest are very, very strong.
Yeah. He really does hit a sort of stride from sort of 2012, I'd say. He doesn't miss. So just looking at what's next, he's got a film
got
in
loads, hasn't he?
development called Roosevelt, where he plays
Teddy
Theodore Roosevelt.
Rumored to be directed by Scorsese.
It said to be directed
But then
by
there's
Martin
another one he's
Scorsese.
in that's meant to be rumored directed.
There's another thing in pre-production called Midnight Vendetta, directed by
Scorsese.
Martin Scorsese, where he's playing someone. It's written by Eric Roth.
And he's doing one with The Rock, isn't he?
There's Evil Knievel on Tour, which is directed by Damien Chazelle.
That's rumored.
That's rumoured. He's got a film called Howl, which is in production, which is, excuse me, which is directed by E. Elias Merhige? Yeah, news to me. The Wager, A Tale of Shipwreck, Mutiny and Murder, directed by
Martin
Scorsese. So they're not going anywhere. And then also a film called Jim Jones, which is in pre-production.
It's under the sauce.
Which is under the sauce.
Martin Scorsese.
Which doesn't, it just has a writer at this stage. So he's going to be working plenty, most likely with Martin Scorsese.
Yeah.
And that's...
I'd like to see him... you when we were sat waiting for the screening of One Battle After Another to begin, you said, would he ever do another Nolan movie?
Yeah.
And I said, I don't think he would unless it's a strong lead role.
Yeah.
I don't see him like popping up for 2 scenes in the Odyssey kind of thing.
Yeah, because we were saying like for Oppenheimer most recently, Cillian Murphy was the perfect type of actor and star quality to do that. A very, very respected and esteemed actor that people who knew, but wasn't bigger than the film and didn't outshine, not in terms of his ability, but in terms of his celebrity, the other great actors in that. He was perfectly primed, I think, to elevate himself into that role. It wouldn't necessarily work to have had Leo do that role. It's like miscast. But like for Nolan would have to write a very specific film, I think, to have Leo jump into it. And I think Leo in 2010 was kind of still in his action DVD era, which I think applied well for Inception. But just interesting. But I think he likes working with Martin Scorsese quite a lot.
What's a great director you'd like to see him work with?
Oh, it's a good...
So we have to go for a big name director that Leo's going to bother to spend his 2-year allowance on.
Yeah, it's a good question. Ooh, I think...
Who are the hot directors coming up right now? Is he like... Does he go, I'm going for Zach Cregger or I'm going for Jordan Peele?
Yeah.
But he won't do it. I mean, hasn't really done horror.
No, he hasn't done horror. Oh, Shutter Island, you could argue, is like horrifying.
Psychological, I suppose.
Psychological horror. Because he could do more comedy stuff. But no, I think horror would be a good one for him to do. I'm fine with the biopics. He works with the best. He works the best. Yeah. That's a good question, actually, who you'd like to see him work with.
Because like Paul Thomas Anderson, I was like, that makes sense. That's another...
Denis Villeneuve, quite obvious. If he comes in to do something there.
Maybe go back and work with Danny Boyle again.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. I do like that. But yeah, we'll see.
Anyway,
we'll see if he ticks
That was
more
fantastic.
off.
That was excellent, James.
That was a run-through of Leonardo DiCaprio's career. And as always, please do stay tuned for our review of his latest One Battle After Another, which we have seen but are embargoed to talk about yet. But next week we'll be on it. Make sure you go and check it out.
It'll be probably under a week by the time you get this bonus, I imagine.
Yeah.
So
like, within a few days. You'll get to listen to our review of One Battle After Another, which we saw at the Odeon in Leicester Square.
Yeah.
I think presented in VistaVision.
I think it was. I think that's one of the few venues in the UK that is presented in VistaVision. Thank you very much for joining us, guys. As ever, if you haven't got your tickets for episode 200 of Pulp Kitchen, which is live at the Leicester Square Theatre on Wednesday, the 8th of October at 7 o'clock, do it now, because we're going to be talking about one of the best films of the 2020s are. Will Killers of the Flower Moon make it? Will One Battle After Another be in there? Who knows? As voted by you guys, we'll be running a poll on our social media where we want as many of you to vote on what you think is the best film of the 2020s, and we'll reveal it and discuss it and analyse it, and it'll be great. It'll be really good. So we can't wait to do that. You can get your tickets in the link in the description and our social media. We'll see you next time. Thanks as ever to our producers, so much. Finn and Dave. Bye-bye. Bye.